The first principal role I ever had was my sophomore year, and we did Our Town, and I was Mrs. Webb, and she was one of, there's two kids, and then they both have their parents, so she was one of the mothers. And then after that, I had the lead in last year's fall show, and then this year's fall show, and also in last year's fall show I was Babette in Beauty and the Beast. I was Prospera in The Tempest. I was Babette in Beauty and the Beast. I was Anne Sullivan in The Miracle Worker, and now I am Evelyn Nesbit in Ragtime. Yeah, this role, obviously her story is very different than Babette, but sometimes they do cast me in these kind of flouncy, sexy roles, and Evelyn Nesbit, she's supposed to be this very sexy vaudeville performer, so yeah, I auditioned for that part, so. Well, in this show, it's a lot of fun. Her number, she's actually on a swing, and they're flying us in on the swing. So it is kind of it's this big presentation. It kind of feels like a circus. And I mean, she's a fun character to play, but in reality, her life was not so fun, so it is interesting to kind of play this fun character, but at the same time know that, she was a real person, and that her life wasn't always so easy. I just think it's a really beautiful story. I'm sure a lot of people haven't read the book, too. I recommend it. But I know it's no surprise that right now our country is at odds, that some people are coming together in different groups, but as a whole, the country seems kind of separated. And this is a show about 3 different groups of people, the blacks, the immigrants, and the rich whites, kind of eventually integrating and coming together and creating one big community instead of 3 separate ones. So I think it's an important story to tell, and it's especially relevant now, but it's always relevant. In certain roles, there's been more memorization than others. For example, when I was Prospera in The Tempest, that was Shakespeare, so there were a lot of speeches. And what I do is I just write and rewrite my lines until they're very embedded, until I don't have to think about them anymore. But it depends. You do a lot of research, especially if the character was a real person. Anne Sullivan, real person. Evelyn Nesbit, real person. If there's, in a musical it's different because there's singing choreography involved, so obviously you're practicing those skills separately so that it comes together during the performance. But generally, I try to work on the scene without, having any preconceived notions except knowing who the character is. That way, when you're talking to somebody, it's a natural conversation. But for Evelyn, besides, just obviously practicing the song and the choreography, read the book, read the play, read her little blurbs of her biography, and then just kind of trying to think about that and think about how I can embody who she was. Yeah, I'm already a theater major at Northwestern, so I had to apply. When I applied to the school, I applied to the School of Communications for theater. So yeah, I will be majoring in theater. I'm excited. Generally, everybody's really excited that we're able to do the show. We were all scared that especially the seniors, that we weren't going to be able to do our senior spring musical. The show means a lot to the cast. I think that people are also excited now that the school is kind of going to be forced to come see the musical. We hope that not only that people like it, but there's a lot of kids, there's a stigma, especially with the plays and the musicals, I'm not going to go see, I'm not going to go support D-Wing. But we hope that people see that, it's a great production, that people get excited about it. I think people are a little bit nervous about maybe making it the best show we've ever done, because people will be watching us, not only the school, but there's been news trucks outside, but it's good pressure, it's added pressure, it's making everybody work a lot harder. Generally, we all get along pretty well, but just like anything, I'm sure it's this way in Eastside or in any other club, people do fight and people do kind of disagree. But because of this, we've all come together in a way that I'm really proud to be the president. I'm really proud to see how everybody kind of came together and fought for this show, and how excited and enthusiastic we all are to work on it together now. So the other vice presidents, that's Danya Traumer and Sarah Patizzi. The secretary is Bethany Jean-Louis. Historian, who's Allison, she takes pictures and like kind of records everything visually. And then Ezra is our publicity chair.